I have officially found an author that writes across multiple genres, urban, contemporary, and dark romance in really fun and exciting ways. Today, we have Tay Mo'Nae on to talk all about her Black romances and what she puts into each and every single one, no matter the genre. We also talk about what you can find in her books. We dive into a few of her books individually and where to get started in each of the genres if you aren't sure where to start. If you like Black romance and you like it across multiple genres, this is the episode for you. Listener discretion is advised. This podcast contains mature content intended for adult audiences only. Hello, Tay. I'm so excited to have you on the podcast. So if you could start by telling everyone a bit about your author journey. How did you get into writing?
Honestly, I've always kind of liked to write, whether it was poems or short stories. I used to do short stories in authors' reading groups. My old publisher was made aware of some of the short stories I was putting in the groups and reached out to me or whatever and was like, why didn't you tell me you write? And da-da-da. So it's kind of like this back and forth thing. She wanted to sign me. I didn't want to sign. And she was like, let's just do 3 books. And I was like, okay. And we did 3 books. And now here we are.
Wow.
And that's pretty much it. Never thought it was going to go this far. Never thought I was going to be doing this. But here we are.
So tell me a little bit about that initial feelings of not wanting to sign with a publisher.
I'm one of those people who I don't take rejection well. I don't like to put myself out there to be judged or rejected. So it was just like, no, I don't, whatever. I just know. But thankfully, it did the complete opposite of that. And it did really well. And my first book did amazing. My first series in general did amazing and everything. But yeah, I'm one of those people. I don't like to put myself out there in a position where I could be judged or criticized and stuff like that. I guess that's my childhood trauma playing a part.
Get that.
But yeah, so I was just like, no. Then she was like, let's just do one book, one series, 3 books, see how it goes. And that series did good. And then I was like, I wonder if I can, come up with more. So she was like, let's just do 6 books now. And I was like, okay. And it kind of just went from there. The whole time I was signed is how it went indie.
Wow. And what was that kind of transition like for you going from having a publisher backing you to then going indie? Because I know a lot of readers don't understand the differences that go into it. So what was that like for you?
Honestly, wasn't any different. The biggest difference was just coming out of pocket for everything.
Right.
I feel like besides having to pay for my own editing and covers and stuff, it wasn't really that much different. And I guess having more creative control over what I wanted to write, my titles, genres, stuff like that was a big difference. When I first started writing, urban was more of a focus. So romance wasn't really encouraged. So my publisher mainly had us we were urban per publishing house. And I'm not really an urban girly. I read it, but writing wise, it was kind of a struggle. But once I got indie and everything, I feel like it got easier for me to find my niche and find, what works for me, my writing style and my voice and tone and stuff like that. So that's probably the biggest transition that was, different for me, was being able to find my voice and my niche on my own without having someone kind of this title doesn't work or this doesn't work or, XYZ. I was kind of able to experiment with different things and find my own lane, essentially.
I think it's really interesting. You said you have a fear of rejection, but then you write books where people could reject you.
I know. And that's why I didn't want to do it at first. I played sports in junior high and then through my 9th grade year. And even then, I just hated, I played basketball. And I always said, I wish basketball was like football. I was really good with defense, but I wasn't the best offensive player. And I'm like, don't give me the ball. Don't give me the ball. And when I had the ball, I wanted to hurry up and get rid of it. But I was a good defender. So I was like, why can't it be like football when we switch? I don't like having that pressure on me. But I ran track. But I liked track because I was a fast runner for one. But it's more of a freelance type thing.
Right.
I can just go. and kind of blank out. But even like with sports, I was the same way. Like I did not like being that center of attention where I could be judged and I can be, but I'm the same way. Like even this is fine, but I don't like public speaking. I'm not a public speaker. Even in college, that was one of my worst classes I had to take, oral communication, and we had to do like speeches because I'm not that, no, which is kind of crazy because I'm always talking about going and stuff. But when it comes to stuff like that, no. So yeah, writing books was definitely a game changer and a like kind of stepping out of my comfort zone
Yeah,
for sure.
I can imagine. So you kind of alluded to this, but you write across different genres, all Black romance, but quite like across different ones where you have contemporary romance, you mentioned urban, you've got some dark romance in there. So like, what has been maybe one of the most surprising things of writing across those different ones? Like maybe it's like what mode you get into for one, or like what does that look like for you?
I think it's just being accepted, I guess. So like my urban romance journey I don't really do too much urban fiction anymore, but my urban romance and contemporary romance, those are genres that are I'm able to kind of bounce back and forth and my readers. But it was more the dark romance that kind of was like because I know a lot of the stuff that's written, and there are a lot more darker books. Like mine aren't, at least not right now, are
Not yet.
super dark. Right. Mine aren't super, super dark, but I do know it does have some things where some people will be like, she okay. So I think that was the biggest thing, getting like basically not caring and kind of blocking out everything and not worrying about the reception it would get, if it was morally okay. I was actually talking to somebody about this. It's kind of hard writing about Black women and some of the stuff that happens in dark romance because we're like attacked and stuff every day. So it's like in a fiction, you want us to be basically princess treatment all the time. And given like in my dark romances, essentially we kind of end up there, but some messed up stuff happens to get there sometimes. Like the guy isn't always so ethical or morally, whatever. So that's kind of like hard at times to kind of like tiptoe on because there's a lot of people like, why would you want a Black woman to go? And it's just like, it's fiction, not everything has to be so serious just because I'm writing that she's tied up and gagged and maybe he shoots her in the foot. Doesn't mean I want that to really happen in real life to a Black woman. That was something I was worried about. At the end of the day, it's fiction. And I'm one of those people who, as long as certain boundaries aren't crossed, like I would never actually play the race thing into it and everything like that. That was probably my biggest thing. And then I watch a lot of true crime. I'm a true crime junkie, thrillers, documentaries, all that stuff. That helped play a lot of the role too. So like whenever I'm writing like a dark romance, I usually am like binging that. Like for my family saga I'm doing now, I like binge Criminal Minds because it plays a lot of role, like a lot of their characteristics, like how they do their cases and stuff like that. So I was like binging Criminal Minds. My TikTok is always like true crime, stuff like that. So that plays a lot of roles. I get a lot of ideas from some of the true crime stuff I watch or the thrillers. Or when I want to go back to like my romance, like, regular romance, I try to find something that's a little bit more, either funny or lighter to kind of get back into that space.
Yeah, I think it's so interesting, the idea of going back and forth, because at least from the last 2-ish years, the way you release them might not be the way you write them, right? Of course, there might be differences in there. But I remember reading, I'm pretty sure my first introduction to you was a dark romance. And then I was like, oh, okay, I dig this. I'm pretty sure it's the one where she was tied up in a basement. And then
Capture Beauty, probably.
Yes. And then the next one was not a dark romance. And so I was like, I love both of them. Like usually it's a little more difficult to be like, wait, no, you're only supposed to, and I think readers can tend to do this where we almost put authors in a box. of
For
like, you
sure.
have to write this way. I had Naima Simone on talking about her getting into writing her first actual like dark romance and like,
Yeah,
what was that transition like? Because she had only been writing more lighter romance. I think it's so interesting, but we do put authors in a box. And
for
so
sure.
I love that my introduction to you was not in a box at all. It was like, oh, she does all
Yeah.
this stuff. Let's go.
And it's kind of hard, like, when I went from Captured Beauty to Inflamed, I had, like, the whole like, at first, I was trying to write them at the same time, but I was like, "I can't do this." Like,
Yeah.
they're the 2 genres, like, the 2 different mindsets, like, I couldn't do it. So, I just did Captured Beauty, and then I went to Inflamed, and even though I had Inflamed outlined and worked out, it was hard because I was still in that headspace of Captured Beauty, like, I still wanted to kinda have that crazy action stuff going on, and Inflamed wasn't that, so it took me longer to write Inflamed and even write Hear My Heart from Stolen Matrimony because they were completely 2 different speeds, they were 2 different genres. So sometimes it is harder for me to kind of transition back to regular romance from a dark romance, but thankfully, right now, I'm writing an urban romance, so I can still have that same mindset without the dark qualities, so it still can kinda be in the same type of momentum. But yeah, it is sometimes hard to switch back and forth between the 2, like, back to back, 'cause I try to do every other because I know a lot of readers have tried my dark romance and appreciate that it's still my style. It still gives that Tay Mo'Nae feel. I know a lot of readers aren't dark romance readers, so I try to go back and forth so that I'm always including my core readers, but I'm still doing my dark romance thing. But sometimes it is definitely hard. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I'm thinking like, Hear My Heart. Oh my God. First of all, everybody go read that book. It is so good.
Yes.
I don't know
Thank
what I
you.
was going through in June, July, but I read a lot of cheating books in that month. And I was like,
It's
oh,
summertime.
so
Be
a little
outside.
summer fling. Here we go.
Yes.
But that one is so good. And let's go into
You.
this one for a little bit. What was kind of like the character development for you in your head? How you come up with the characters for this one specifically? For anyone who has not read it, shame, shame, shame. But you have a female main character who is almost entirely deaf,
Yeah.
and she's engaged to a absolute asshat who refuses to learn sign language after they've been together for years. And then, he gets into an accident. He's in a coma. Brother comes into town, rolls up, and is literally everything that she deserves. How did you come up with that story? But then, like, what was kind of like the idea behind having a character who was deaf?
So one of my favorite tropes, I think it would be considered a trope, is like disability.
Mm.
Like I love reading about disabled characters, whether it's blind, deaf, missing a leg, missing an arm, missing an eye at this point, I love like I'm a trauma reader. I love trauma. I don't know why, probably more of that childhood stuff coming into play. But so like I love disabilities and seeing the characters overcome them. I've always wanted to write a disabled character. And I actually was reading or watching an anime. I'm an anime girly, and it's called Signs of Affection. It's about the girl's death and she falls for a hearing guy and everything. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cute. I was like, I want to write about a deaf girl. Like that's gonna be my intro to the disabled thing. And it kind of just went from there. As for the brothers thing, originally I was going to do it as a dark romance and I was going to do it as a spin on The Lion King.
Ooh.
But I was like, I don't really want to play into her deafness and like the dark element thing as my first book as a disabled rep thing. I was like, I don't really want to do that. So I switched it to a regular romance and yeah. And then Hear My Heart kind of came into play and there we go.
I love it. One of my favorite tropes is ex's anything. It could be the ex's
Yeah.
mom. It could be the ex's
Same.
brother.
A lot of people don't like it, but I am a slut for the ex's dad. Treat me better than your son. Yes, zaddy. So I am the same.
Yep.
Same. I am definitely that shameless taboo person. Bring it all.
I love it. It's so good. You kind of mentioned this a little bit, but that kind of Tay Mo'Nae feel, what is that for you in your books? Stuff that you like, maybe it's something that you're always including or something that you're like, this is giving me. Or maybe it's just how the
Um,
characters are that it's like little pieces of you.
I feel like all my books, even when I try to make them simple, there's like never anything simple about these damn characters. There's always some type of trauma, messy situation, something. I'm really big with character development. That's like one of my biggest things to read about. So, like, that always plays a role in my books. I feel like I always have, like, it 9 times out of 10, unlikable female character for the most part. They're either too bratty, sneaky, or just bitchy, like, and I always like kind of feel like my books, well, I get told a lot, they're kind of like movies. Like they play out kind of like movies, how they develop out from beginning to end. People can see everything playing out in their head. I feel like my men are always, whether they're like overly obsessive, like in my dark romance or not, I feel like they're always very protective of their women. Both my men and women are always willing to fight for what they need. There's always a strong core friendship somewhere. Sometimes you might get like a shitty parent. I feel like that's like a common theme. There might be more I'm missing, but yeah, those are pretty much like the main things you pretty much always can suspect from like my books.
Anyone who said that you have unlikable female main characters can kick rocks, okay? Because,
Oh, I get told that all the
oh
time.
my
9
God.
times out of 10, the masses hate my female character more than they like her.
What?
And I'm like, a lot of my female characters have traits of me. So,
Right?
like, are y'all telling me
Rude.
something about myself? But yeah, a lot of times my female characters are very bratty. They're very like, I said what I said. I don't like, what do I gotta apologize? It's my way or no way type thing. So I get it. But yeah, a lot of time, like most of the time, my female characters are not liked. So it's kind of funny. Like the one I'm writing now, I already know she's not gonna be liked. But you know what? It's fine. It's fine. If it works, you know? It fits with the story. She's not supposed to be liked. But that's where that development comes in. So hopefully by the end of the book, she will be liked, but she's definitely not gonna be liked. I already know.
That is so interesting because, all right, I think as women of color, and especially Black women, we have to portray ourselves a certain way, especially when it comes to like the job versus
Mhm.
home. Like you have to
Yeah.
be one way to present yourself a certain way, to be accepted in a certain way. And honestly, that's one of the reasons I loved working in manufacturing because it was like 5 women to 150 dudes. And I
Yeah.
could be a bitch. And I didn't have to be like prim and proper. Please get this to me at your. No, I need this now. And if you're not going to get it
Yeah.
to me, we're going to have a problem. And I need to know now. So, like, and then I'd have the coworker, one of the guys would, I'd get back from lunch and there'd be Snickers on my desk. And I'm like, thanks. You knew what I needed.
Right.
Appreciate it. Or like the first thing
No,
in the morning,
literally.
they'd come around the corner and kind of peek and like, see, has Alicia had her coffee yet? No? Okay, let's give her a few more minutes and we'll be back. Right? Like,
I feel it. I
it's so,
definitely feel it.
I feel like in books, we expect the women to be this prim and proper and like,
They do. They're definitely way harder on women than they are on the men, for sure. That's why I never care if they like my female characters or not. Cause I'm like, at the end of the day, y'all have very, very high standards and expectations for these female characters. I don't know what to tell you. Write a book.
right?
And, like, write what you want at this point. Cause I mean, every little thing y'all are like, I don't like she's too outspoken. I don't like she don't know how to accept a man's love. And it's just like, that's everyday women, babe. Like, I'm sorry. There are a lot of like, I'm a very hyper independent woman. And it's something I'm working on. But like, if that character's in a book, oh, why wouldn't you let him do this? Or why would you, da da da. And it's just like, that's how some females are, like, especially the stronger ones,
Yeah.
the career-driven ones, they're not submissive females, like, they kinda have to be taught. So, yeah, they definitely make it hard on the female characters, like, to write them and their personalities, but at this point, when I'm writing, I pretty much go in knowing, like, "Oh, yeah, this one's gonna be hated. This one might be hated. This one they should like, but I could pretty much determine as I'm writing and planning the character out now if they're going to be liked or not. Which 9 times out of 10, they probably are not liked, but, it's fine.
I mean, one hyper independent woman to another. I love them.
Yes, yes.
It feels seen. I had my 11-year-old kiddo. I was like, hey, buddy, can you help me with something? He was like, you need my help for something? Wait, I get to help you with something?
No, I feel it.
I was like, really? Am I really like that?
I remember I was at to take out the garbage once, and I was staying, with some friends or whatever, and their dad was like, "Don't touch that." And I'm like, "Huh?" I'm like, "I'm gonna have to just take it out." And they're like, "No, just leave it outside the door and I'll grab it." And I was like, "Oh, okay." Like, "You sure? Like, you want me to take it downstairs?" He's like, "No, just leave it outside the bedroom door." And it was like, "Okay." So, yeah, I definitely get it because I do everything for myself. If I'm asking you for help, I really, really need it. That's how a lot of my female characters are. They're very headstrong. And which is crazy because I love reading like damsels in distress stories. I feel like rarely do I have a damsel in distress. I'm trying to think. I know I have a couple, but I don't think like a good amount of my books are damsel in distress. But I love reading about them. Like, I honestly don't know what readers want the female characters to be or whatever. And then, like, with the guys, like, they could be I rarely see them get like, the main thing I see them criticized for is, like, if they're cheaters.
Mm.
I think that's, like, the main thing, like, if they're cheaters or an abuser or something, but besides that, like, I rarely see male get any criticism, so I just be like, "Well, oh well." That's one reason I like the dark romance genre too, because the rules don't technically apply
Right.
there. You can have some leeway when it comes to a lot of things too, so that's one reason why I love the dark romance genre as well.
I mean, I think it's D&D where it's the surprise baby.
Oh, yeah. One of my favorite tropes, love it.
It's the surprise baby, and she's got her network. He comes back later and is like, wait, you have my, like, she's like, oh, by the way, I had your kid. You were not around. I didn't know where you were or who you were. So, sorry, not sorry kind of thing.
No, literally. Luna, my girl Luna, she was not one of them. She's
No.
like, the fuck I need you for? Like, I got this.
And she had her
Yes.
network, right, of people that were with her. And like you mentioned earlier, those strong family networks sometimes, or those strong friendships. And I notice you do have that in almost every single one, at least of the ones that I've read,
Yeah.
where there is, maybe it's a family member that's a really good connect, or it's the best friend or something like that. Why is that important for you as you're kind of developing and bringing support for these characters, even as independent women?
One reason is because so I never watched it. Like, I've seen, like, episodes just because it was on TV, but, like, I never actually sat and watched it straight through. But I always thought when I got older, I was gonna have, like, a Sex in the City. Like, I was gonna have girlfriends, we go out, we shop, we do brunch, we do this. No, I'm not that. Even now, I'm 30, and I don't really have a tribe or people I'm close with or consider I can necessarily, like, depend on or whatever. Like, I just don't feel like I have that, like, support. A couple people, I know I can call for, like, certain things, but I don't feel like I have that genuine, like, so I put it in my books. But I don't have in real life, I put in my books. So that's why they always have either they're real close to their sisters or a best friend, a cousin. If they have nothing else, my person could be homeless on the street, but they're gonna have one person. And I just think it's important for everyone to have at least one person they can count on and everything. Like I said, I don't really have that support. So I just give it to my characters, and kind of live through them.
Yeah. I think it's like writing that the fantasies and kind of exploring fantasies of things that you want in real life.
Yeah.
And it's a safe way to explore because it might feel like opening yourself up to friends is hard, especially as
It
you
is.
get older. I'm at that stage where the people I know, because I wouldn't like classify them as friends,
Right.
but like the people I know are like my kids' friends' parents. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Okay, I guess we gotta find something we enjoy
In
that we can
common,
talk
yeah.
about.
And see, I don't have kids, and then because I'm a full-time writer, I write from home, the older I get, which is crazy because I used to be extroverted. I used to love going out, socializing, partying. I don't like any of that anymore. I think I overdid it in my early 20s, late teens. But now, like, I just like being in the house. I like to read, bake, binge watch TV. I always say I love social media without the social.
Yep.
So it's harder, being this age and not really going out as much and trying to get friends. I know you have to like go out, socialize, and find friends, but it's hard not having that from your 20s or,
Yeah.
whatever. And so it's like another reason why usually my friendships start in my books when they're young, because I feel like as we get older, it's very much harder to befriend people and find people you vibe with and stuff. Like, by this age, we know what we're looking for in a friendship. We know the type of friend we are. Same with like relationships. We know exactly what we're looking for. Pretty sure a lot of us have been like burned by something, so we're more guarded, stuff like that. So I don't know. I just kind of, I guess, yeah, like express what I want in my books in real life. And maybe it'll manifest into real life.
Yes.
Not yet, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Oh, man. Friendships are so hard. Like I think
They
about
are.
the friendships that I had when I was younger, even like a teenager, and the two friends that were like one and I don't know if this is just like how I was or what, but like my best friend was like my best friend and they weren't allowed to be anybody else's best friend. I am going to hold you hostage with
Yeah.
like arms and legs. That's just how I
Right.
was, especially as a teenager. And so the one friend, she ended up starting to date my cousin, and he's a little hoe bag. Then they broke up, and that meant we broke up as friends. And
Yeah.
I was like, what? And then it happened
Yeah.
again
No,
in
I
college with
hate
the
it.
same cousin.
Oh my God.
Y'all need to stay away from my hoe bag of a
No.
cousin.
No, I hated that. Like when my friends would try to get with anybody in my family, I'm like, that has nothing to do with me, bro. No, I didn't even play them type of games. I get it. And I feel like I'm one of those people who give more in friendships than I receive.
Yeah.
And I don't realize that until it's too late. That's why now I just enjoy being by myself. At this point, I just don't have it in me to keep on trying to befriend people who only like I'm more of a convenience for them. So, and I'm like, maybe I'm just picking the wrong type of girls to be friends with or whatever. But it's just like I feel like most of my friendships end like one sided. And it's just like, no, like I just don't have time for that.
Yeah. Totally understand that. All right. So you mentioned you're working on a book right now. What is it about? And when can we expect it, maybe?
So my birthday's November 1st. And so I'm trying to have it out by my birthday. If not by my birthday, at least like a week after. So November, I'm hoping. And like I said, it's an urban romance. And so she's a rich girl. When I think of her, I kind of think of, I guess, London Tipton in a way, just not that ditzy. Like, my girl's not going to be no airhead. But, like, kind of London Tipton, like the era, she's used to getting whatever she wants. And she sees a man and she's like, I want him. So basically, the guy, without ruining the plot, the guy is kind of forced to marry her. So that's the beginning. And then the book actually starts off with them and their marriage for a couple of years and just seeing how their dynamic is. Their relationship is going to be, I guess, marriage before love. It's going to be very one-sided at first and just kind of seeing them play out and their different personalities. Like I said, she's going to be, like I said, yeah, readers probably aren't going to really care for her because she's going to be very spoiled, very bratty. Like, she's going to be like London Tipton, like literally. And he's not like that at all. He is going to be a owner of a tech company, like a cybersecurity tech company. He's like going to be like a millionaire, and his personality is kind of like not serious, but he doesn't respect those who don't. work for what they have. He doesn't like that she's just like entitled, that she doesn't work for anything, that she just expects. So they're complete opposites. And the whole reason they have to get married is a really messed up situation. So he's like resentful, and there's going to be some revenge. There's going to be some sabotage, some secrets coming out. So it's just a little bit of everything, some plotting. So that is that. And I am excited to get a little further in it so that I can start sharing stuff about the characters personally. I already have the cover, I already have their character art done. Yeah, so.
Yay. I'm so excited.
And I was trying to think of what to say without giving away too much. But yeah, it's going to be very fun to write, I think, because they are polar opposites. And because she's so like, I'm used to getting what I want, and he doesn't do that. And you like learn a lot about her and her growing up, and the way she was brought up. It has a lot to do with why she is how she is. And he grew up with money too, not as much as her family, but he also knows like how to be humble and, hard work and everything. So their morals are completely different. That's going to play a part in their marriage. I love writing about the rich entertainment. Like she's like lifestyle vlogging and, influencing and all that. And so, yeah, it's going to be real fun.
If someone has never read your books before, if you could direct them in, all right, here's the urban romance to start with, here's the dark romance to start with, and here's the contemporary romance to start with, where would you kind of put them?
For urban romance, I would say either Tattoo My Name on Your Heart or Drunken Love. For dark romance, I only have 3 out right now, but I would probably say Capture Beauty, just because Stolen Matrimony and Merciless Obsession, like, there are still two brothers books that need to be done. Even though they are technically standalones, there's still an ongoing plot. So Capture Beauty, and I feel like that is like my true opening to dark romance. Like, Stolen Matrimony was dark, but it wasn't as dark as Capture Beauty. And then contemporary, I would say probably Hear My Heart or The Sweet Spot, because everything in Maple Hills is like a contemporary based romance. So I would say The Sweet Spot or Hear My Heart is a good one to start with there.
And I've read all of those, so I agree where you placed them. I wasn't sure if you were going to throw in one that I hadn't read yet, and I was like, ooh, maybe.
Oh,
Nope.
yeah.
Okay, yay. Love it. Tay, this has been so much fun. Where can people find you, get to know you, buy your books, all that fun stuff?
I am on all social medias. Underscore author Tay Mo'Nae is my threads and Instagram, and all my other ones is just author Tay Mo'Nae, TikTok, all that. My website is taymonaewrites.com. I have a mailing list too where they get the sneak peeks, the cover stuff first. If I do any sales, they get first access. Sometimes I do certain promo codes for them specifically. If I'm doing like an overstock sale and there's limited quality of stuff, they get it first. I have a reading group, the Tayverse, on Facebook. And that's it for now.
Awesome. And I will make sure we have links for all that in the show notes, as well as the YouTube description for anyone doing other things while they're listening to us. Tay, thank you so much.
No, thank you for having me.